The head of Aviation Technical Training Branch, Captain Marty Reagan.
Well, John, I can't get there from here. I don't have anything to say. Let's go. Yeah, okay. Most of you, I'd like to thank all of y'all for coming. I have more to say in just a little bit when my turn in this program comes, I think. First of all, though, I'd like to introduce somebody who's going to make some remarks, and then you'll see why I'm going to do most of my talking later, so I have a chance to rebut what this fellow says. But next guy's been a friend of mine for over 16 years. First met him at Airland. He's had a stellar career in aviation maintenance, risen to the very top in our career field as the commanding officer of the Naval Air Rework Facility, now the Naval Aviation Depot in Norfolk, Captain Tom Hancock.
Admiral Tuttle, distinguished guests and friends, and I think that that's what this is all about. I've been to some retirement ceremonies, and I think some of us have over a career, and sometimes everybody's not necessarily as happy as they can be. I think this is a celebration of 24 years of fantastic service to all of the warriors, and those are the folks that people like me are in business to do, is to support them. But they don't just do it by themselves. Marty is a part of a team, and the other part of that team is here in Becky. And that's the fun part about this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that he's done in improving the things that we do on a daily basis, improving our lot in life and our sailors' lot in life, all the way through a really distinguished career. And I'm going to kind of cover a little bit by little bit what he's done and how he's done it for us. And then I think I'd like to summarize with a little thing that I'll call a rhino rhyme, which some of you may or may not know, that I have this little handle that's followed me through a career. To summarize what I think this team represents from my perspective. Well, it started out 24 years ago down at Pentagon when Marty was in the AOCS, like all of us, or most of us, started out in our careers in aviation support, and then he became a fleet kind of guy. V-87, and I think it was A-7s. So he's been part of the light attack mafia for a long time. That's an inside joke for some of the folks around here, but it's stood him in good stead. And that was in Franklin D. Roosevelt. So that was, he went to sea with a seagoing tailhook squadron in USS Franklin D. Roosevelt, not Theodore Roosevelt like some folks have said, or asked. Then from there, after spending a productive tour as a division officer, went out to postgraduate school. At postgraduate school, Marty began to understand this thing called a computer. And he became a geek, if you will. But he used that to I think, really effective implementation for the rest of a career. And then following that, the payback tour was to come back here to Bureau Personnel, and I think in the requirement section, and took that newfound knowledge, that breakthrough that we're all now becoming used to is computer technology, and to use that so that we can get out of the day-to-day pencil kinds of things that we did before. Now we're working smarter and not harder, and that's what it's all about. And he understood that a long time ago. From Op 124, then Admiral Tuttle and Marty linked up. Marty was assistant AIMDO, and Admiral Tuttle will tell you that they made some great breakthroughs on that ship. And one of those key breakthroughs was a thing we call SIDMS, Standard Information Display Management System. All that meant is if you were in the maintenance business and you were trying to manage reparables for those aircraft, to get them off the front end of that ship, you needed a database, a computer to help you do that. And these two were, I think, key in developing that process that now does the DoD in people who manage maintenance to use that tool. It's now called Melcomas. And so we have the people who brought a new process into our business, and it's a real shining star of what happens when you bring that kind of technology to bear. From there, then Marty and I, for the first time, we'd known each other before that. We came to the Naval Air Systems Command, and some of the frustrations that he and we had to deal with in support of our air wings were managing the support equipment, very complex kinds of things that we have in our repair work centers. Well, he brought that fleet sense and support to the business of Naval Air Systems Command into that bureaucracy. And from that, another idea started. That idea that Marty had played a very large part in is called CAS today, Consolidated Automated Support System, which will be a DoD standard that everybody will use, so that this one individual here, working with a team of people, took a look at a way of doing business and figured out that there was a better way, and that's called CAS, and it's now the DoD standard. And then he became someone near and dear to all of us that wear this uniform, better known as a detailer. I don't think the front lobotomy took because Marty was one of
they missed a little.
was one of those guys that you'd always hope for, sometimes you never got, was a detailer who would shoot straight and tell you if there was, he could or could not do something, and I think we all appreciate that. Well, Marty upheld that kind of charter and did it well. From there, went back to the light attack community, didn't leave the Naval Air Systems Command, went in as assumed duties as the Assistant Program Manager for Logistics. In our business, that's a very key individual who brings all those kinds of elements that we need to support something, things like training, things like support equipment, things like facilities, and it brings them all together so that the warfighters and the people out at our naval air stations have all the right stuff, all the right tools at the right time, and don't have to do extraordinary things just because someone didn't do their job. Marty was one of the first in our community to hold that kind of a position, and now because he did such a good job, we have hardened, fleet sensitive people who just completed their AIMD ashore, which is a big job, in those kind of positions. He did so well, he got to go to sea. And he got to go to sea with one of my personal heroes, Jim Lair, on USS America, as the boss, the AIMD officer, the senior maintenance officer, if you will, on that aircraft carrier. Why he was there, just like in every other program that he's been a part of and has been able to influence, that ship was #1 in the Atlantic Fleet at the time Marty was there. And as a testament to their success, they went on to fantastic cruise. Then coming back to Washington again, Marty was the one person that we all look to in the business of managing maintenance, who manages the policy of how you do all of that in naval aviation maintenance. It's called the Naval Aviation Maintenance Program. It's a policy job, and it's a big one, and Marty did a fantastic job of that. Then, in his final tour, he came to be the head of aviation technical training. And for those of us who know a little bit about this movement called quality, you'll know that quality, key element of that is training and retraining to make sure that your people have the right training when they need it. And there have been a few things that he's done in a very brief period of time. Things such as getting the FAA to understand and to give credit to our young sailors for their E&P license, something that no one much thought about. But it's one of those few things that we can do for our sailors, and he has done a masterful job of that. I guess consolidation of all the Class C schools, the intermediate schools for our technicians, consolidated the curriculums, and that saves about 20% across the board. In today's day and age, in this environment, dollars are absolutely critical. We can put those dollars to good use for the things that we couldn't afford before. And last, certainly not least, he's been a member of, we think, a professional organization of maintenance officers for a long time. And then when people retired, well, we kind of lost track of those folks. Marty, being the people individual that he is, that, hey, this is a family. The folks that wear this color uniform, we have been a family for 20 years, in some cases 30 years, whatever that period of time is. Let's not lose sight of that. Let's keep in touch so that it becomes seamless, so that we can help each other just like we've done for 20, 30 years in this business. And so he's created a maintenance officer alumni association, and and it's off and running just like everything else. So it's been one breakthrough after another, one process improvement after another over a long haul, and he was improving processes when that wasn't a buzzword, and understood it all. It takes a leader to do that. One of my personal heroes was Admiral Bob Dunn, still is. And I can remember when he used to talk about leadership, he'd say, a good leader brings to the table 4 things. First, that leader establishes a vision. Then he communicates that vision to all of his people. Then he gives them, thirdly, all the resources to execute that vision, and then stands back and cheers them on. And if you take a look at Marty and what he has done over a career, that's exactly the mold he's been in. So I guess it's been 24 years of a leadership tour de force from my perspective. But that summarizes more than just Marty. You don't do what we do for a career this long without having someone who is equal to or better at what you do, and that's called the wife. And Becky has done more than most, and that's why we're successful, because we have that team support at home. And I put together this little line of rhyme that I'd like to finish with that kind of summarizes my feelings for this pair. It's called Winners. Every winner that ever was, and every one that is, has kept that resource deep within, the power that is his. The power to be anything they ever want to be. The power is their right to choose, and therein they are free. Winners win with work, not luck, for every winner knows that any winner only reaps exactly what they sow. Winners get involved with life. They know what winning gives. Winners take an active part. They make life what it is. Winners don't hesitate. Don't wait and wonder how. Winners don't procrastinate. Winners do it now. Winners win by setting goals, sure road to success. They travel the road and pay the tolls. They choose which course is best. Though daily bouts they seem to lose on the battlefield of living, winners continue the fight and choose the right and never stop their giving. Then when life's longest day is done and they tally up the score, though they sometimes lose some battles, they always win the war. In being all they can be, they ignite the inner spark. This chosen pair rise above, they reach beyond the mark. And aiming high, they always stand, a cut above the rest. Marty and Becky Reagan, they are our Navy's best.
Thank you, Tom.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the head of Aviation, Manpower and Training, Rear Admiral Spane.
Well, I don't have a poem, so I will just say a few things that certainly this is not the end, it's the beginning for Marty to go on to bigger and better things. We're hoping he's all going to get a big job on the outside so we can come work with him or for him or around him. And from the Navy's perspective, we certainly thank you for your long, hard hours and great work and some of the visions. You had a visionary to help you, I see, out there, and together you've done some wonderful things. And Becky, we all know a Navy wife is the toughest job in the Navy. You've seen that on the bags at the commissary. If that were on the bags in the package store when you brought the beer home, it would be really true. At any rate, thanks for all your hard work.
All right, at this time, I'd like to call Mrs. Reagan up here.
That's right.
Come on, right up here. This is Alexis. Yeah, keys with Alexis. I've never given my wife a bouquet like this, so I don't know quite how to do it. But at any rate, congratulations. Good luck to you.
Good morning.
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay.
Okay, a letter of appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Rebecca R. Reagan has earned grateful appreciation for her unselfish, faithful, and devoted service to her husband during his naval career. Her unfailing support and understanding helped to make possible her husband's lasting contribution to the nation. given 19th day of February 1993, Rear Admiral Spane. A personal letter. Dear Rebecca, on the occasion of Marty's transfer to the retired list, we wish to recognize and pay tribute to you for your efforts in making his career a beneficial and rewarding one. Without your understanding and support, this goal would have been much more difficult to pursue and achieve. In any partnership, the effort of one member cannot succeed without the wholehearted support of the other. Nowhere is this more true than in a military marriage. The Navy wife is truly a remarkable person in this regard and certainly deserves much respect and admiration. While Marty devoted his time to the needs of the Navy, you devoted your attention to his needs. Thus, together you have made a winning team which has contributed immeasurably to the success of a larger team, the United States Navy. I know you are justly proud of Marty for his contributions to the Navy and our country. I want you to know that we are proud of him and also of you for your role as a Navy wife. I am sure you both have many happy memories and friendships to cherish. Remember, leaving active service does not mean leaving these friendships behind. We sincerely hope you will remain a part of the Navy family. Sincerely, R.J. Spane, Rear Admiral, United States Navy. Guests, please rise. The President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Legion of Merit to Captain Martin W. Reagan, United States Navy, for services as set forth in the following citation. For your exceptional, meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service as Section Head of Aviation Technical Training on the staff of the Director, Air Warfare within the Chief of Naval Operations from June 1991 through February 1993. Through outstanding leadership and superb professionalism, Captain Reagan contributed immeasurably to the enhancement of aviation maintenance training. His genuine concern for the deck plate sailor as a top priority was reflected by improved technical training and earlier exposure to the hands-on environment through a formal integration process. Captain Reagan's efforts directly resulted in a 20% reduction in sea school training track length, resulting in a savings of over $5 million while providing better trained maintenance professionals. His mature judgment and extensive operational experience positively affected every key decision and initiative approach to aviation maintenance training. Captain Reagan's contribution will continue to influence naval aviation for years to come. By his exemplary leadership, commendable innovation, and inspiring devotion to duty, Captain Reagan reflects great credit upon himself and upheld the highest tradition of the United States Navy. For the President, F.B. Kelso II, Secretary of the Navy, acting. Commendation for service in OpNav. Be it known that Captain Martin W. Reagan Jr. has completed 44 months of service on board in the Office of Chief of Naval Operations. In grateful recognition, therefore, of this diligence and service, it is this certificate of commendation given this date under my hand and seal. F.B. Kelso II, Chief of Naval Operations. Dear Captain Reagan, on the occasion of your retirement from active naval service, it is my pleasure to extend the warm and heartfelt congratulations of a grateful Navy. Your brilliant career speaks for itself, and the fact that you have given 24 years to the service of your country is a tribute to your total commitment. The completion of this tour marks the end of a remarkable career of dedicated service to our country and the United States Navy. You can look back with pride on your extraordinary achievements in times of war and peace, and know that you have helped place naval aviation at the forefront of our nation's defense. You have touched the lives of many and helped make ours the greatest Navy in the world. We bid you fair winds and following seas. Sincerely, S.R. Arthur, Admiral, United States Navy. Certificate of Retirement. From the Armed Forces of the United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Captain Martin W. Reagan, United States Navy, having served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Navy on the first day of March, 1993. Signed, Vice Admiral Salapiter, United States Navy Chief of Naval Personnel.
The one that counts is the last.
Guests may be seated. At this time, I'd like to introduce the branch head of the Aviation Enlisted Training, Captain Bill Adams.
Oh.
Not so fast.
That's you now.
Marty?
It didn't work.
You take it back.
Okay. Thank you. It was a nice thought.
We're going to use it.
Yeah.
On behalf of all the maintainers, I'd like to present you with this picture.
Okay. Stand up straight.
Give you folks something to look and read on at your leisure.
These are wonderful. I really appreciate this. Thank you, Bill.
And also, on behalf of the Marines present, from HNX-1, a picture of the presidential hero.
Yeah.
All right.
Great.
One more.
Okay.
One more.
Oh.
On behalf of all the green shirts, the maintenance training, I present you with the flag, and to let you know that the flag is flown over the USS America. Hang this on your car.
I will.
Or set it on your car.
Beautiful, isn't it? So I can do this without the thing falling off. It is wonderful. It's a shame you have to wait till you retire to get all this stuff. I want to say again, thanks to everybody for coming. We've got some really special guests here. Two of them that have meant a tremendous amount to me in my life couldn't make it. Admiral Dunleavy's on the West Coast, and Admiral Fetterman couldn't come. Three of the four is here, and Admiral Tuttle, one of the just truly outstanding leader that I've ever known. And another guy sitting here that I just think the world of, even though I've only known him for about 4 months now. But this guy could be CNO one day. Y'all don't know what an asset you have here in Rocky Spane. I want to thank you guys and Admiral Mixon, head of Naval Aviation. I really appreciate you coming in today. We've got some friends from Pax River that have come up, and I want to thank you guys. Bill Engelhardt, who's the CEO of NAMO down there, is here. Jerry Blocker come with you guys? Jerry was going to try to come. Bob Moeller came?
Got him, Mark.
Good. Bob's the CEO of NADOC, and Don Schramm came with him, the XO of NADOC. I really appreciate you guys coming from out of town. Our carpool had a partial muster. It looks like Rich is here, but we had a wonderful carpool. And for those of you that haven't experienced that in the D.C. area, it's a thing to behold. It turns out that we're tighter than our fraternity from college was. We have some more really special friends here. Dr. Jim and Suzanne Cleveland from out in Reston came in today. Dr. Pete Ivanovich is here from CNA. And you can't have doctors without lawyers. Jeff Christie is here. He's now a retired Air Force colonel. Flying buddy. Carol Van Dorn came with us. Where'd Carol go? There's Carol. Blended in with the uniforms. Carol's a real estate broker and a special family friend. And then Buddy and Sue O'Meara down here on the second row came up from Vero Beach to be here with us today. Family that's here, Betty Reed in the Bluegrass is like a sister to us in our family, and I'm glad Betty could come. My son Michael's in the second row. Daughter Christine is there. Daughter Michelle's in the second row. My dad's 79 and a half, and I hope I'm in that shape when I'm 79 and a half. I'm really delighted that my dad could come to this thing. And of course my wife Rebecca, who you all have met. I'm just delighted to have my family here. I have to say a big thanks to Bill and John for putting this thing on. I mean, there is a lot of work to this. You guys know, most of you have been involved in doing one of these things, as I have over the years, and they are not easy. And I do appreciate what you guys have gone through to make this thing come off today. This is really, really special to me. And when each of you get in this position one day, which you will, I hope yours is as nice as this one is being today for me. A couple things I want to do here, and I don't talk a whole lot. Most of you that know me know that I'm really pretty quiet, reclusive, and generally keep my thoughts to myself. But if you would bear with me, I mean, I promise I won't be more than 3 or 4 minutes here. Want to do a little reminiscing. I saw a guy do this one time, and I thought it was really neat. You get the letter from VCNO, and John didn't read it, he skipped that part, but the letter has in it all the tours you've ever had in life. And it's kind of, it's kind of nice. Tom, in his wonderful speech, which, by the way, that was the best speech I've ever heard you give. The only one I've ever heard you give. First and last, thank you. But Tom went down through the duty stations, as does happen in that letter, but there's more to the Navy than that. So I was thinking about this, and let me just bring back a couple of memories and see if these hit with any of you guys out there. Like DIs and the poopy suits down in AOCS, right? Yeah, there's a grin. And the ACRAC? ACRAC's still there, I think, right? We went in there and danced some, didn't we? So I didn't do that, really. Bodo and EWO. Remember the terror when you had the midnight Bodo watch? I remember one time we were on the old Roosevelt, which had a real round bottom, and we got one of the few times I went to sea, by the way. We got stuck in the Bay of Biscay off of France. We had 40-foot seas. They couldn't turn the ship for 4 days. We were taking swordfish in the catwalks. That was an experience I'll never forget. We used to go to Malta back in the old days. Something happened politically and don't go there anymore. But Charlie Greck was a booze dealer. They would pull alongside the ship. You'd pre-order this stuff. They would pull up there with cases of booze wrapped in plain brown paper like it was going to fool all the sailors, And they would courteously haul this stuff up to our staterooms. I mean, it was really a wonderful deal. I think Jack Daniels was $1.35 a bottle or something back then. Of course, we never drank on ship. None of us did. Remember the Liberty, right? Palma? It's been a long time since I've been there, but Palma was great. Rhodes was great. Athens was great. France was great. And everywhere in Spain, I loved all those places. I was fortunate or unfortunate enough, I don't know your perspective, I never made a Westpac. My cruises were all in the Med. I love those places over there. One of the neat, spiffy highlights was several of us made lieutenant. Jack Fetterman, just one of those wonderful class guys, hauled us all up to the top of the Acropolis where we got to raise our right hand and make lieutenant up there, and that was really a really neat thing to do. Then we went to Monterey and played golf a lot. I think one week we got in 5 rounds. Probably the highlight of Monterey is what that was. I watched then Captain Tuttle hold the captain's mast in 17 seconds. From the time the guy went in the door till he went out there. It was great. I can tell you the story. I know the guy's name. I remember every word he said, and I won't repeat 2 of those words here today. We ended up in Navarre, and we stood up CSS, which is now CAS, and Dino's doing a wonderful job. That program's going on, but my assistant in that thing was, this is one of those memories, my assistant at that time was sent to jail for 1.5 years as part of ill wind. I didn't know. I ended up getting a 2-week good deal. This was really one of the highlights, was going to Israel at the Israelis' expense. That's another story, but 2 weeks there being shown around by an Israeli lieutenant colonel and seeing the historical stuff as it really was. One of our best friends, Bob, is over there now doing the same thing on a church tour to Israel and the pyramids and all that. That was really great. One of my fondest memories for always will be getting to work in that wonderful bureaucracy at Navarre. You guys are there know what I'm talking about, right? Here, 59 and now 889 has been really great to me. Steve McDermott especially, and Willie had great patience. And I was able to get my private license and also my instrument rating while I was here. I really enjoyed that. That's a whole new dimension on life as a ground pounder. And the last thing that's really significant memory, and I don't know if this is good or bad, but this little thing that said certificate for 44 months of service is, in op nav is really an error, because I went back and added them up and counted my first tour right after Monterey, it came up to 69 months. I should have issued a bar thing with that. That thing. It was a long time, and I hope none of you guys out there ever have to do that. One tour is plenty, but this is really, it's been a good tour. Op nav is not a bad place to be, as places go. You can generally have some control over your life and over the lives of your shipmates out at sea being here. Let me digress now. When each of you guys get up here, where I'm at, and you get to retire, and they have these nice ceremonies for you, just before it happens, you'll start thinking to yourself, I wonder what I have done with the last third of my life, because that's what this has been, the last third of your life. And can I honestly say I'm leaving the place better than when I found it? John or Bill? Don't answer that, okay? That's a rhetorical question, right? As I look back on it, I've been really lucky to have worked on some programs that have still have life and will be around after I'm gone. And even though these are just, to the aviators, y'all don't need to see these things, but that's what us ground pounders do, is to make these things work. Like Tom was talking about, like Nalcomas. Y'all really don't need to know about Nalcomas, other than Admiral Tuttle needs to continue to fund it. But the thing is there, it's one of the underlying support systems, and without it, we could not do naval aviation. But that's what our role is as ground pounders, and I think some of these things that Tom was talking about that I've participated in, I certainly didn't do myself, but participate in, has been a lot of fun. And I look back and I do have a lot of satisfaction out of working on those things over my life. But bigger than that, I think, is a chance to work with people, like every one of you in here, who are all my friends, to work with you guys, and then to help people out. One little story I hadn't talked about for 10 years, but I was sitting up in AIMD and we're on the Kennedy back then, and the second class I have, with 9 years in, comes up and he says, "Oh, Mr. Reagan," he says, "I'm going to get out of the Navy." And I said, "Well, what in the world for, Lockhart?" Well, his wife had got caught up in being a Jehovah's Witness, and she was just as devout into it as you could ever imagine, and he was kind of a normal sailor. But he got caught up in it too. Rodney, the Marines are laughing over there. He must know what I meant. But Lockhart got caught up into this thing, and he was ready to turn in 9 years of service in the Navy. And little logic wouldn't do it. So one day I hauled him up to Proflock, and we watched flight ops, and they were carrying bombs and bombing Afghanistan or someplace like that, some little thing like that. I gave him a patriotic speech. I swear to God, he went down, tore up his discharge request, and called his wife and says, "You can stick this in your ear. You guys still in the Navy, you're doing wonderful." That's the kind of stuff that's a lot of fun, and each of us in here that are in the Navy have gotten to do that. Jim does it in his life countless times a day to touch people, but we have lots of opportunities, and that to me, I think, is the real highlight of being in the Navy. Being detailer and career manager for our community, I've got to touch a lot of lives. Hopefully didn't remember it all, but we always try to do what was right and help out the organization. Looking back, I really think that the helping out part is what this is all about. Being buddies with everybody, helping them out and doing what you can. A lot of people have asked me if retiring makes me sad. I say no, not at all. There's a lot of stuff I'll miss. Miss One-Eyed Jacks, right? One-Eyed Jacks down Mid-Rats, and hearing the Liberty Call, and the 1MC, I'll not do that anymore. But I really won't miss going down to Ref Tray and having guys, XOs, come and talk to us about CCOLs, and a lot of us know what that is. That wasn't great, but I'm really not sad. I always try to be positive, and try to look at everything, look at the future with a big positive attitude, and just do the best you can with everything. I figured out that each of you, and there's people like Bill, are just now realizing this, that you are in fact in charge of your life, and you can in fact do anything you want to do. The Navy is there for the taking. The civilian world outside is the same exact way. I mean, there's no difference at all. A little apprehensive about getting out? Yeah, I'd say probably just a little bit, but not any more than the first time I came to D.C. or the first time we checked into our first flight. It's really no different than that. There's even a uniform code out there I have found out, and you will find out, the board has found out that there is a uniform code. It's just, we just changed. So things are really the same, just only different. I mean, it's not bad, okay? So I really appreciate each one of you coming in here today. I hope all you Navy guys get the same nice treatment that I'm getting, and have gotten, and will continue to get, I'm sure. And I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for you guys for coming, for my family to be able to be here with me. I really appreciate it. Okay? Thank you.
Wilson, post the side boys.
Nicely done, Rocky.
17 seconds. That wasn't the guy that was pulled from the yard already. That's a long time.
Did you hear that?
Of course.
Nicely done, Tom. Gallons up there with the hanging. We do this mannequin often.
Mr. Reagan, why don't you come right down here so you can see it? Or you can go through the side doors. You're the senior man here.
And he's not going to get right out. So he wanted to come back to me. I said, okay. So I was on deployment. And then to Bergen, Norway. He was going back to the ship and he's hunting. He was down the bed the year before. They went up to the chalet up there and he got knee knocking on that. I know the guy. He got knee knocking on 100 drums. And so he missed the goddamn move.
So this is the only Navy
I
service.
turned himself in.
But he didn't use it, right?
Or no, Turner, which was a flagship. So I was refueling him. I come out of Portsmouth and refueling him. So they said, "Get him." I'll tell you the story.
Captain Martin W. Reagan, United States Navy, retired to party.